This has been one of the off seasons for the ages, well, specifically at least at the running back position, and I try to throw those recency biases out of the window, but you can't really ignore things like Aaron Donald retiring, some of the best names in the league switching teams, going to free agency, signing with new teams, being traded, the Texans and the Vikings trading, outside of the draft, including a first-round pick. This is definitely one of the wilder ones we have seen, like I said, just in the pure volume of really good players. And I've decided, because of that, I'm going to put all those players on one team, send the season, and see if they can win a Super Bowl. A lot of times we do this, they don't really come close to it. This team's pretty damn complete. Obviously starting with the quarterback position, Kirk Cousins. The man has been paid so damn much. And, he is one of the more underrated quarterbacks, and he is good. There's a lot of teams that would like to have him. He is a top 10 quarterback right now in the league. Obviously, he had that big injury, missed a lot of time, but assuming the trend that he has had over the last several seasons is to continue, he is one of the top 10 quarterbacks, maybe just barely inside the top 10, but that is still, Daniel Jones was paid $40 million per, okay? I don't know who his agent is, but he's kind of crazy. Of course, Russell Wilson to the Steelers, Sam Howell to the Seahawks. Don't know what's going to happen there, but obviously we know Russell Wilson. The Steelers are starting him as Kenny Pickett, who is not here because we're limited to 53 players on the roster, moved on as well to the Eagles as a backup. Might win himself a Super Bowl. But, yeah, this is the quarterback squad. Looking at the running backs. Once again, another group of players that couldn't have all the players on there. Guys like DeAndre Swift are not on the list because we just don't have enough room. Derrick Henry now playing for the Ravens. Barkley to the Eagles. Jacobs to the Packers. Mixon to the Texans, ironically enough. And then Tony Pollard to the Titans. Some of the numbers might not be correct, but that's okay because the numbers are going to change nothing. Giovanni Ricci to the new team. Of course, Keenan Allen, wide receiver to the Bears. Gabe Davis onto the Jaguars. Calvin Ridley to the Titans. There's a lot of whole gambling jokes going around. Deontay Johnson in our very good trade to the Panthers. Well, very good for the Panthers at least. Jerry Jeudy to the Browns. Marquise Brown to the Chiefs and Darnell Mooney to the Falcons. He barely made the list here. Tight end, Gerald Everett. Is that who the hell was that? The Bears, right? The Bears? Mike Gesicki to I'm kind of forgetting already. The Bengals. Zach Ertz to the, oh my god. Now here's another one. Here's one that's should he even be on this list? David Bakhtiari. There is a very good chance that he does get signed somewhere. I don't know where, but even if it's a minimum deal, it's not likely to be the Packers, and he's going to play. He's going to play somewhere, so I'm just kind of preemptively going with this. I think it's going to be a little bit before he signs. Maybe I'm going to be completely wrong, and it's like, David Bakhtiari joins Tyron Smith and Aaron Rodgers on their new team, the Jets. But, we'll see. If not, it would have been Morgan Moses anyways. Damian Lewis at left guard. Center is Mitch Morse. Yeah, you see how quickly I threw that whole, he knows which team each player went to. Robert Hunt, obviously a huge contract there. John Runyon to the Giants, of course. Tyron Smith, we just talked about it, to the Jets. Daniil Hunter, obviously to this team. Brian Burns to the Giants. Bunch of backups in there. I should have mentioned them, to be fair. Mr. Shaquille Barrett, Bryce Huff. Technically Christian Wilkins, play him wherever. But Andrew Van Ginkler. Leonard Floyd, almost called Leonard Williams. Technically Blake Cashman. Didn't he go to the Vikings? So, it's weird that he's still here. But Christian Wilkins, the DT. DJ Reader at number 2. Not really the best scheme fit. And then Eric Armstead at number 3. Patrick Queen at left out. Devin White, backup left out. Middle linebackers, Bobby Wagner and Devondre Campbell. Patrick Queen is not starting for us? No, he's on the left side. Okay. Van Ginkler right out. Blake Cashman, like we talk about. Devin White, like I said, is here as well. And then we look at corners. Once again, Trey White not actually signed, but unless he goes back to the Bills, which I highly doubt it, he'll be signed somewhere. Someone's going to sign him. It wouldn't even surprise me if the freaking Eagles make a late push. Someone stop this Madden franchise running Eagles, GM front office. Kenneth Fuller at number 2, Awuzie at number 3, Carlton Davis at number 4, Dante Jackson at number 5. Then we move on to safeties, Kevin Byard, Xavier McKinney, Darnell Savage. Strong safeties of Jordan Poyer, Cameron Curl, And more Darnell Savage. I guess we should probably put Mr. Xavier McKinney. Kicker, Brandon McManus. And then punter, Cameron Johnston. All these players, I believe, are joining new teams via free agency of the signing or trade variety. If there was a player I missed that actually was a higher overall than someone that I actually did go for and is like playing, I apologize. Let me know in the comment section below. I'm sure you guys will. I'm interested because, I mean, it took a long time. I was looking through all the names. I went position by position, and then after it was all over, I was like, okay, who's a player that can be released based on them being kind of lower overall, right? Like I did have, who was it, Ritter and Pickett, and then I was like, yeah, we don't have room for these guys. But yeah, with that being said, maybe leave a like, subscribe if you're new if you like these types of videos, these kind of quote-unquote experiment videos. And if you're not new, I really do appreciate your support on the channel. Should have seen a video earlier today and one a little later today. A lot of franchise, as always. Got the Chiefs on offense, the Bills on defense. Let's do it. And of course, our salary cap situation, I believe, is -2 on a mil. I have the salary cap off. It says nah. It's so much money. It's like nah, dude. You just don't. You don't even want to see it. It says 263 mil salaries, but I think it was like a dead hit of like 200 mil trying to trade off players and whatnot. But nah, bro. I gotta say the fact that I can go down to there we go, -169 mil. I can go down to advance quicker than I can go clicking up. Tells you there's a lot of trade offers. I also am sorry if there was another like kind of big name that happened. You know, maybe Trey White re-signed with the Bills. I don't know. There's a big move that happened. Obviously, it takes a little while to set up videos. Takes a little while to record them, edit them, render them, and get them posted. So this is as of Friday night, and I have an Eagles rebuild that I'm like starting Friday night here now, and then probably finishing Saturday night. So if there's some outdated things there as well, I'm up to Kenny Pickett, I think. I don't know if there was any other moves, but hopefully there's not any more by the time that comes up on Sunday. But yeah, a lot of videos this weekend. Holy crap, I know we have some breakouts, and that's why, but I have not seen the list get that long. Watching a damn movie at the end with the credits. Ridiculous. Checking contract just for the fun of it. It says -55 mil. Do we not have like more negatives? Obviously, I mean, you're losing some quality names. Look at the freaking list, though. Like, there's no like actual backup level talent. I'm used to having the, well, I guess Zach Ertz does show up here, Jonah Williams and Leonard Floyd, but I'm used to seeing so many players I wouldn't want to keep. But there is a lot of players that I would obviously love to keep here, and we would literally not be able to afford any of them. Technically, we can't afford them because obviously the salary cap is off, but that is a lot of talent. Holy. So we finished pretty damn strong, but man, that start was horrible. We ended up having to play in the wildcard round as we are Mr. Wildcard Home Team 13-4. I don't know who that is, Mr. Wildcard Home Team. Very famous guy, I think. But yeah, 1-3 start. Obviously the Ravens, the Jaguars, the Steelers. Okay, the Steelers maybe not so much. But there's some tough teams in there, and yet we, we lost to the Steelers. I mean, you play against the Ravens and the Jaguars. Those are teams maybe you could lose to, especially the Ravens, but the Steelers, and of course we lost to the Bengals, and then no one else. So once again, kind of an impressive finish, but 1-4 start. I was like, are we not even going to make the playoffs? Did I do all of this work bringing all these players in, and we don't even make the playoffs? Once again, Chiefs scheme, 4,100 yards, 41 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Derrick Henry, really good stuff. Backup numbers, Barkley at 5.4. And then they're like, hey, Jacobs, the third string running back, 3.6 for this 90-plus overall running back. Receivers, Keenan Allen crushed it. Everett, pretty decent. Ridley, not bad. And then the rest we do not want to see any more of. Blocking, I mean, this isn't a great offensive line, but the tackles are. Giving up over 20 sacks combined. Very interesting. Daniel Hunter, 17.5 sacks. Wilkins, 7.5. Burns, 7. 4 for Reeder, 2 for Wagner. Once again, more disappointing numbers. I mean, it's not a god squad, but it is a very good roster. This is a roster that, like, you can never assemble, and it would be, one of the better rebuild rosters you can get, obviously. McManus missed 5 kicks out of 16. Johnston was decent, obviously, but overall, this team kind of underperformed considering the talent they have and the playbooks we use. Kirk Cousins was number 7 on MVP. Number 3 for Offensive Player of the Year, and number 8 for Offensive Player of the Year as well. Surprised that Kirk's not on the list, though, if he was on the MVP list. Danielle Hunter does win Defensive Player of the Year, though, which is great. No rookie awards. Best quarterback at number 5. Best running back at number 2. Best wide receiver at number 1. Best O-line not on the list. Doesn't shock me one bit. Danielle Hunter, the number 1 defensive lineman, and 1 Defensive Player of the Year, so why wouldn't it be? Wagner at 7 for linebacker. DB at number 5 and 10. And then kicker, not on the list because he missed like 30% of his kicks. But because we don't want a lackluster finish, we got to go in and sim this game against the Miami Dolphins, who lost Wilkins, lost Poyer because they technically would have had him. And there might have been some other losses, but 2 decently big losses. But one of them they actually never even had technically. The Browns move on to the next round. I mean, this is a really good team. Obviously, 87 overall for the Dolphins is no joke, but once again, we're playing as a team that should not exist. It is too expensive, too much talent. 20-7, halftime score of that 20-7, 26-7. Were we missing extra points, or maybe it was like we went for 2 after the fail, and it's just like you keep digging that hole deeper. But of course, defense clutched up, and the offense really started to pour it on a little bit. 53-7. It's a pretty high overall team. Tua with 4 picks. One of the higher pick totals I've seen from a good quarterback, and B, a good quarterback in the playoffs. But Kirk obviously cooked. Rushing was tame, but good enough. Receiving, pretty balanced around. Sack totals, 4.5 for Phillips, 4 for Hunter. 1 for Ogba, 1 for Reeder, 1 for Seiler, 1 for Burns, and 0.5 for Baker. Picks for Davis, White, Ginkle, and Awuzie. And we missed that extra point, so it must have been a 2-point conversion failure. Just, once again, that snowball was rolling. It was rolling. But obviously, we did not also change the sliders because I felt like, the team's already pretty good as it is. Don't need to boost our odds even more. We should be a team that at least makes the playoffs, maybe wins a couple of games, maybe wins a Super Bowl. And so far, kind of keeping our promise. Did lose to the Ravens earlier in the season. We have 2 overalls on them, but that Ravens team, even though we took like all free agents and trade pieces, still really close. And we're going to the end of the game. 7-0. 14-0. 21-0, looking pretty strong. Halftime score of 21-3, 28-3, and that will be us moving on to the championship round. Not the most convincing team in the world in the regular season, but once this postseason hit, took it to another gear, especially on defense, man. These scores are really good, and we're winning games. Kirk Cousins, really good game again. Lamar, limited hard. Derek, a little bit better, I guess, because he had more volume. And then we look at the rest. Ronnie Stanley gave up 3 sacks. Danielle Hunter and Brian Burns combined for 6. And they had 4 combined. Bobby Wagner with a pick. No missed kick. Here is the championship round. The Browns used to, once upon a time, not so long ago, be one of the God Sim teams just like the Cowboys. Remember when they were winning a bunch of Super Bowls? See, I don't have recency bias with, the Cowboys are just so busted, which they are in Sim, although they lost to the Niners. The Browns used to be really busted too, and then the Patriots with Brady. Oh my lord, the Sim wins they had. I remember things, all right? That's why I actually can say that this is one of the crazier off seasons. I'm just saying. But here we are, 17-7, 17-14. Nice score before half. A little bit closer than any of our other games. More scores from the opposing team as well. 31-17, and that will be a victory. It is Super Bowl bound time. This Texans team is cooking. Once again, not super convincing, and all of a sudden the playoffs hit, and we're killing it. Kirk with his worst game yet, but still had 400 yards with 3 touchdowns. Derrick Henry with his worst game yet. Keenan Allen cooked defensively. 3 sacks for Kalen Saunders and 2 for Shelby Harris. These name drops are ridiculous. How are those the names getting numbers on us? Holy. It is your roll against the Niners. Dev-ups don't really matter too much, as obviously it's a team of really good players anyways. But here it is. They are a 91 overall. We took like all these players that probably made a combined like $1 billion this offseason. At least $500 million. And we still can't be a higher overall than the Niners. That's crazy. I would say because of the open market price, probably $500 million. I wouldn't say it's a safe number, but $300 million minimum is a safe number. There's some big contracts. I mean, what? Kirk was like a sixth of that? 300? It's like pretty much. Numbers are really hard. I don't know. Freaking fit, like an eighth. Either way, 14-14. Up by 7, into the half. Up by 11. And can Kirk Cousins and company win it? They will. This team was good enough to win the Super Bowl, and it was not a clear-cut 17-0, and here we are in the playoffs winning it all. It was a shaky regular season, and then a pretty dominant postseason, I will admit. But this game, of course, kind of got a bit too close for comfort. But ultimately, we do win this game as well. And all of those players searching for the money, searching for the ring, come together to actually win that ring. Talk about buying a franchise. And here are the players celebrating this thing. Kirk Cousins is a Super Bowl champion. I'm not saying I believe that the Falcons are going to do a ton of damage, but they got a pretty damn good offense. And once again, I already said it. I feel like the Vikings fans, a lot of them at least, don't really realize what they've lost. Of course, maybe they'll luck into, their next franchise quarterback who's a bit younger and a little bit more in line with where they are in a rebuild situation. But, yeah, Kirk Cousins is, he's not a bad quarterback. That's all I can say. 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. Purdy, 238 yards, 2 touchdowns. Rushing, Derrick Henry had a 59-yarder, which finally led to some decent averages. Everett cooked out of nowhere. Sacks, 1 for Burns. We've been seeing some really crazy sack numbers, too. And then the Super Bowl comes around. It's like, here it is. Your 1 sack receipt, sir. Not the best at numbers, but we'll take a quick, over-glance view of the team. There's not really much more to say. I'm not going to look at each of the players because we didn't really develop them. It was a one-season, one-off thing. And it was, I should actually show you guys that we didn't, force wins or anything. Because, like I said, we have a good team here. But at the same time, is it 53-7, 38-6, 38-17, Super Bowl victory good? Not particularly. As you could obviously see, the Niners were actually a higher overall than us, and it kind of showed it was a close game. But ultimately, this free agency, pretty much off-season squad, has won the Super Bowl. And I feel like I said, looking back at some of the other years, we did not come close to this overall, and we did not win the Super Bowl in every single one of those sims. But that's the squad. Obviously, Kirk Cousins with some insane morale and does get to start Dev defensively. I think there was a couple here as well. But 2 players that could have maybe pulled off the list is Trey White and Bakhtiari, especially Bakhtiari. But I think they're both going to easily be signed somewhere. Maybe just their agents are holding out. They and their agents are holding out for a little bit more money. But if they're not going to retire, they're going to be playing for new teams. That's all I can really say. And the only one that really realistically would retire probably would be David. So, yeah, I think it's fair to put them in there because, maybe even by the time this is up, they've signed with new teams perhaps. But anyways, like I said, if you guys enjoyed this one, maybe leave a like. Subscribe if you're new. If you're not new, I do appreciate continued support on the channel. And if you have any ideas kind of similar to this or some other idea you want to see, that can be arranged. You get a little shout out. I mean, that's ultimately the greatest goal of all time, greatest prize. But yeah. Don't know if this was the first, second, third video today, but it looks like there's going to be 3 videos today, and then a rebuild tomorrow more than likely. But anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you guys come back for next video. Until next video.